In knockout football, an underdog has two roads to glory. You can rely on cold, calculated discipline, building an unbreakable structure that suffocates and frustrates even the world's best. Or you can unleash pure, chaotic emotion, a relentless, furious swarm that creates panic and overwhelms your opponent. But which is the better path, the head or the heart? Today, we're dissecting two legendary underdog stories to find the answer. In one corner, Morocco's ironclad fortress from the 2022 World Cup, a masterclass in tactical patience. In the other, Jordan's aggressive swarm from the 2025 Arab Cup, a team that played with breathtaking fury. By breaking down these clashing philosophies, we're going to forge the ultimate underdog framework. This is the fortress versus the swarm. Section 1. The Fortress. Deconstructing Morocco's structured pressing. When you think of Morocco's historic run to the 2022 World Cup semifinals, one word comes to mind: defense. But just calling it defense doesn't do it justice. What Walid Regragui's side built was a tactical fortress, a brilliantly engineered system of structured pressing designed not just to stop teams, but to control them, even without the ball. Their foundation was a compact and incredibly disciplined 4-1-4-1 mid-block. This wasn't a team that chased the ball from the first whistle. No, they were patient, almost predatory, waiting for the opponent to step into their trap. The main objective was simple but profound: deny all access to the center of the pitch. By walling off the middle, they forced Europe's elite, Spain, Portugal, Belgium, into the less dangerous wide areas, and that's where the trap would spring. At the heart of it all was Sofiane Amrabat. His role as the single pivot wasn't just to tackle, but to constantly cut passing lanes between midfield and attack. He was the anchor. Ahead of him, the two central midfielders had clear instructions: don't press recklessly. They waited for the ball to enter dangerous zones, then engaged together, never alone. That discipline extended everywhere. On the wings, Hakim Ziyech and Sofiane Boufal transformed from flair players into tireless defenders, tracking back to help their full-backs and shut down 2-versus-1 situations. This killed overloads and forced opponents to recycle possession, repeatedly running into Morocco's defensive wall. The quarterfinal against Portugal was the system at its peak. Portugal held 73% possession, yet managed only 3 shots on target and an expected goals total of 0.92. It proved possession is meaningless when it's sterile. Morocco allowed safe passes in front of them, trusting their compact shape to close every gap. Their vertical discipline was just as sharp. The back four held a precise line, catching runs offside and staying tight on long balls. When someone did break through, the midfield instantly collapsed, swarming the ball carrier to force turnovers. What truly set Morocco apart was their bravery in possession. They would deliberately draw the opposition forward, creating space behind them to attack. Here again, Amrabat was vital, always making himself available for a pass under pressure, knowing exactly where his outlets were. Of course, no system is perfect. With so much focus on defensive shape, the center forward was often left isolated, making it hard to sustain attacks. And while their compactness was their greatest strength, it required immense concentration. If just one player switched off, a gap could appear, and the whole thing could come crashing down. But for the most part, those gaps never appeared. Morocco's success was built on near-perfect execution and a collective belief in the structure. They were a team that played with intelligence and incredible emotional control, proving that a well-organized fortress can be more than enough to topple giants. Section 2. The Swarm, analyzing Jordan's chaotic pressing. If Morocco's run was built on the cold logic of a fortress, Jordan's historic journey to the 2025 Arab Cup final was fueled by raw, untamed emotion. Interestingly, they were managed by a Moroccan, Jamal Salami, who adopted a philosophy that was the polar opposite of that of his home nation. This wasn't about patience. This was about forcing the mistake through sheer, unrelenting intensity. This was the Swarm. Jordan's approach is best described as organized chaos. They were tactically flexible, often lining up in a 3-4-3 or a 5-4-1 without the ball, but the formation was less important than the philosophy. Press hard and counterattack like lightning. Commentators called their style harrying and closing down because they simply didn't allow opponents a single moment to breathe. Their semi-final against regional powerhouse Saudi Arabia was the perfect example of this style in action. From the first whistle, Jordan swarmed them. Saudi Arabia's technically gifted players were never allowed to settle. In post-match interviews, it came out that Coach Salami gave his players a simple but powerful instruction: Do not respect the opponent more than what is necessary. He told them to look past the big names on the jerseys and hunt for any weakness they could find. This mentality created a breathtakingly aggressive counterpress. The second Jordan lost possession, their immediate instinct was to swarm the ball carrier to win it straight back. This wasn't one guy chasing, it was a collective hunt. 3 or 4 Jordanian players would converge on the ball, suffocating the midfield and forcing panicked, long passes that their backline comfortably dealt with. This tactic completely neutralized their opponent's attack, with Jordan's players looking visibly more determined and fired up. The manager Selami was the architect of this belief. He fostered an incredible team spirit, convincing his players they could go toe-to-toe with anyone. Star Moussa Al-Tamari spoke of the winning mentality drilled into the squad, giving them confidence to attack anyone. Unlike Morocco's mid-block, Jordan pressed high. Forwards, Yazan Al-Naimat and Al-Tamari charged defenders, creating chances directly from turnovers. That's the power of chaos pressing, goals born from mistakes. Jordan even thrived without the ball. Under Salami, they never won a match where they dominated possession. They were disruptors, letting opponents have the ball, then punishing every error with speed. But the style was dangerous. It demanded non-stop sprinting and perfect coordination. One missed press could open massive gaps. Calm, technical teams could break through it. Emotion, too, was a double-edged sword, fueling brilliance but risking loss of control. Their dream ended in a dramatic 3-2 extra-time defeat to Morocco in the final, where composure ultimately won. Still, Jordan's run proved an underdog doesn't have to hide. With belief, energy, and organized chaos, even giants can be overwhelmed. Section 3. The Showdown, structure versus chaos. So we have 2 winning underdog formulas standing on opposite ends of the tactical spectrum. Morocco's structured fortress on one side, Jordan's chaotic swarm on the other. To decide which is the better framework, let's put them head to head. First, the structured approach, the Moroccan model. The huge advantage is defensive security. A well-drilled 4-1-4-1 mid-block is incredibly hard to break down. It gives you control over the game, even without the ball. You decide where the opponent plays, and you're rarely caught out of position. This methodical style is also less physically demanding over 90 minutes and across a long tournament. It's perfect for frustrating possession-heavy teams, turning their greatest strength against them by letting them tire themselves out. Star player Moussa Al-Tamari said his coach instilled a winning mentality and gave them the confidence to attack relentlessly. Unlike Morocco's calculated mid-block, Jordan's pressing often started high up the pitch. Led by Yazan Al-Naimat and Al-Tamari, their forwards charged defenders and forced costly errors. This is the power of chaos pressing, creating scoring chances straight from turnovers deep in the opponent's half. Jordan even thrived without the ball. Under Salami, they never won a game where they had more possession than their opponents. They let the other team have it, then punish mistakes, immediately pushing forward toward their attackers. But this high-octane style was risky. The chaotic swarm was exhausting to sustain, demanding constant sprinting. If even one player failed to press, huge gaps appeared. Calm, press-resistant teams could play right through it, leaving the defense exposed. Emotion fueled Jordan's rise, but it was also a double-edged sword. It created brilliance, yet sometimes cost discipline and shape. One mistimed press can break the shape, and it often isolates the striker, reducing attacking threat. The chaotic swarm takes the opposite approach. Its biggest strength is chance creation. Winning the ball high leads to rapid attacks against disorganized defenses, often the fastest path to goals. Emotion becomes a weapon, building momentum that overwhelms stronger teams, yet the risks are massive. The physical toll is brutal, and elite teams can break the press with composure, instantly exposing the backline. It's a true all-or-nothing gamble. In the end, the fortress offers control, but limited bite. The swarm delivers danger, but invites chaos. One minimizes risk, the other maximizes opportunity. For underdogs, it comes down to identity, survive through structure, or strike through intensity. But this is where I want to hear from you. If you were managing an underdog in a World Cup final, which philosophy would you pick? The calculated discipline of Morocco's fortress, or the relentless fury of Jordan's swarm? Let us know your choice and why in the comments. I'm genuinely curious which style you think gives an underdog the best shot at making history. Section 4. The Ultimate Underdog Framework. The synthesis. We've seen the fortress. We've seen the swarm. We've weighed the pros and cons. But the real question remains, which path should an underdog take? The answer isn't choosing one. It's knowing when to be the fortress and when to unleash the swarm. The foundation has to be Morocco's structured 4-1-4-1 mid-block. That's your default. This compact shape provides the defensive security every underdog needs to survive. It makes you hard to break down, helps manage energy, and keeps you in the game. You start with the fortress because it prevents being blown away early and gives you control, but a fortress alone won't win matches. Simply absorbing pressure invites defeat. That's where the swarm comes in. Built on top of the structure are clear pressing triggers, moments that turn defense into a weapon. The team doesn't press constantly. Instead, specific cues flip them from patient block into aggressive hunters. Those triggers might be a poor first touch, a slow back pass, a ball played wide to a trapped fullback, or a pass to a known weak link. When it happens, the team explodes. Nearest players swarm the ball, midfielders cut lanes, and the back line squeezes up. For a brief burst, they become pure chaos, forcing turnovers high and launching fast counters. If it works, you create a golden chance. If it doesn't, there's no reckless chase. The team immediately drops back into the disciplined fortress. That's the key. Chaos is targeted, structure is constant. This hybrid gives underdogs the best of both worlds. Morocco's stability with Jordan's cutting edge. It's smart with energy, using intensity only when it's most likely to pay off. Calm and organized in defense, explosive when opportunity appears. So what did Morocco's fortress and Jordan's swarm teach us? They taught us that there's more than one way for an underdog to fight. Morocco showed the world that tactical discipline can neutralize even the most potent attacks. They played with their minds. Jordan showed that raw emotion and coordinated chaos can overwhelm opponents. They played with their hearts. But the ultimate lesson is that the smartest underdogs will learn to play with both. The future of giant killing isn't choosing between structure and chaos. It's about mastering the switch between them. It's about building a solid defensive fortress as your home base, but having the intelligence and courage to unleash the swarm at precisely the right moment. The underdog that can be both the immovable object and the unstoppable force, that's the team that will truly defy the odds and write its name into football history. So what do you think? Tell us in the comments below. Thanks for watching.
Smart fans don't just watch, they analyze. Over 100,000 thinkers strong. Join us on the road to 250,000. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Subscribe and raise your football IQ.